What do you know about love language? As a matter of fact, the person that you are dating right now, do you know each other's love language? Love language, by definition, is your partner's specific way to feel loved and appreciated. It's not the only way, but this is the one way that you could know for sure. If they are having a bad day, if you want to make them feel loved, you could always use that way and they're gonna feel better. And knowing how important it is for a lot of people to know these kind of things, today we're gonna talk about the 5 love languages. Welcome back to those of you already part of the community. And if you are new around, on this channel we give relationship advice. If this is something that you're into, be sure to subscribe to the channel and hit the notification bell because we've got a lot to talk about. The first love language is words of affirmation. This love language expresses love with words. If your partner's love language is words of affirmation, this is the type of person who constantly wants you to remind them how much you love them, how much you appreciate them, how much you care for them by using your words. This is the type of person, if they're having a bad day at work, it would definitely be good for you to send them a text, reminding them by the time they get home, you're going to give them a foot massage, everything's going to be all right, it's just a bad day, everything will be good as long as they get home, as long as you're next to each other. For people with that kind of love language, the only thing you have to constantly be doing is using your words, which is why sometimes you might be in a relationship with somebody who's always asking you, do you love me? It's not like they don't know that you love them. It's because their love language want to hear you say it as often as they want to hear it. The only downside as having a love language as words of affirmation is that if somebody already know what your love language is at the beginning of the relationship, they could use that against you to make you think that they really love you by constantly telling you how much they love you, by constantly reminding you how much they appreciate you. Meanwhile, they were just playing a role. The second bad side is that if they already know that your love language is words of affirmation, they know how words can affect you. Therefore, if you're dating a toxic or a narcissistic person, they could also use those words against you to play with your emotions and your self-esteem. So you have to be very selective when it comes to who you decide to tell what your love language is. Because especially for people whose love language is words of affirmation, they can easily get affected. They can absorb anything that comes out of somebody's mouth, and that could either make their day good or make their day bad. And for that alone, you have to be very careful. So from the 5 love languages, words of affirmation is the first one. The second one is acts of service. This one goes directly with the saying, actions speak louder than words. This is the one love language you can only express love to that person with your actions. And I wish that everybody could have that love language, especially in today's reality, because there are a lot of people probably going to tell you a lot of things. By having acts of service as a love language, this is not even going to go through. Because this is the type of person, if you are not showing me that you love me with your actions, we are not going anywhere. This is the type of person, they don't care about you saying that you're going to give them the world. This is the type of person who wants to see action constantly. Action by things that you're going to do around the house. Action by things that you're trying to build with them. Action by the promises that you made at the beginning of the relationship. Promises like building a family. Promises like having kids. Promises like getting married. Promises by staying by her side or by his side. Promises like you will work with this relationship no matter what happened. They want to see you do things and show them with your actions, with how you are devoted to make the relationship work. That's all they're asking. They want to see how much you love them through your actions. The one misconception about that love language, a lot of people automatically think that this is the type of love language that expect obligation from people. But in reality, all they're asking is the bare minimum. If you say that you really love me, if you say that you really appreciate me, if you say that you care for me, I'm gonna need you to show me that you care for me. I want you to stick by me no matter what happened in the relationship. I want to know no matter what happened, you'll be able to make sacrifices so we could stay together. And for anybody who does not have the capacity of showing them how much you love them through actions, you won't last long in a relationship when somebody's love language is acts of service if you are not willing to show them love through your actions. So from the 5 love languages, acts of service is the second one. The third one is quality time. This one is all about undivided quality time, undivided attention when we are around each other. A lot of people also have a misconception. Whenever somebody say that my love language is quality time, they tend to think that, oh, this person is going to be glued to me like white on rice. This is not the situation. When you are dating somebody with quality time as their love language, you have to make time for them. They do not tell you that you have to spend every day 24/7 with them. They only tell you, if you're going to be with me as your boyfriend, as your girlfriend, understand there's going to be a time for work, there's going to be a time for the boys, there's going to be a time for video game, there's going to be a time for everything. The only thing they're going to ask you is, when it's time for you to spend time with me, I don't want you to be distracted by anything else. And by quality time, it doesn't have to be anything crazy. It could be Netflix and chill. This is already your boyfriend. This is already your husband. This is already your girlfriend. This is already your wife. You could pick a movie, sit down, eat popcorn, talk about things, and watch movie together. Undivided attention to the person, because that's how they feel loved, that's how they feel appreciated. And by you knowing this is their love language, you ought to provide that to them. You're supposed to make time to provide that to them. And the worst thing about being in a relationship with the quality time as love language, if you keep canceling things, you're gonna make the person feel you don't love them enough, you don't appreciate them enough, you don't care about them enough for you to make time to spend time with them. And if we're gonna talk about today's society, this is one of the biggest problems. People don't make time for people. They're always on their phones, they're always connected with something else. But when it comes to emotional connection with the significant other, because they are constantly busy with other things. So by you watching this video, if your partner's love language is quality time, it's time for you to understand that you've been messing up, and it's time for you to pick up the pieces, because their love language requires undivided attention, undivided time spent, because that's how they feel loved and appreciated. So from the 5 love languages, quality time is the 3rd one. For the 4th one, we have receiving gifts. This love language expresses love with gifts, which means if you are dating somebody whose love language is receiving gifts, it's important to give them gifts as often as you can. And before a lot of people lose their mind, when you are dating somebody with receiving gifts as love language, you have to understand that does not automatically mean that the person is materialistic. That has absolutely nothing to do with materialistic. If you want to do crazy stuff, that's up to you. But the person's going to tell you themselves that I don't need anything crazy. I want meaningful gifts. You could be giving the person the world, meanwhile they only needed that little thing from you and they couldn't get it just because you decided to waste money away. This is not the type of game we're talking about. When somebody's love language is receiving gifts, they do not just want any kind of gifts. They want things that they could use for generations. You've probably seen things in movies where people have been using the same necklace for years, for generation. The mother had it, the mother had it, generation to generation. It's because those kinds of gifts were so important, so meaningful to the people, to the point where they couldn't just let it go. This is the type of gift I'm talking about. This is the type of person, if you are to give them a gift, the gift has to be meaningful. They want you to put some thought behind the gifts, because it's not about how big the gift is, it's about the meaning behind the purchase. So for the people who've been thinking receiving gifts as a love language automatically means that the person is extremely materialistic, that has absolutely nothing to do with anything material. They want meaningful gifts. They want you to really think about them when you're purchasing the gifts. They don't want a bunch of gifts just to say that they want gifts. It has absolutely nothing materialistic in it. It's all about showing them how much you love them and appreciate them and care for them behind the gifts. So from the 5 love languages, receiving gifts is the 4th one. And for the 5th and final one, we have physical touch. Anytime we say physical touch, a lot of people also have the misconception about physical touch automatically means that this person constantly wants time between the sheets. Yes, you're gonna have some times between the sheets, but physical touch as a love language doesn't automatically means that you're gonna spend a lot of time in the bedroom. Having physical touch as a love language means that you want a deeper connection with touch, which means that include kissing, cuddling, holding hands, hugging, making the person feel safe, loved, and appreciated by kissing their forehead. Always give them that physical presence, because that's how they're gonna feel connected with you. It has absolutely nothing to do with just spending time in the bedroom, because this is the type of person who wants you to be a shoulder to lean on. This is the type of person who always want to know that you are available to give them a hug. This is the type of person, if you do not show them, if you do not give them that physical touch, the relationship could actually take a big hit, because this is one of the things they really need to feel connected, appreciated, loved, cared for from their significant other. So from the 5 love languages, physical touch is the 5th one. I also want to say there's probably more love languages out there, but the most common ones are the 5 languages that we just talked about. And like I said at the beginning of the video, this is not the only way for you to show your partner how much you love them. There are plenty of other ways you could do that. But at the same time, you have to understand this is a specific way which anytime you could do it to them, they're gonna get that signal automatically, because this is one of the main things that could make them feel loved and appreciated. On that note, I hope that you guys enjoyed the video. If I've missed something in the process, feel free to let me know in the comments below. Until then, take care of yourselves and each other. Peace.